Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. She is sponsored by Nishmas Am Yaakov Lev Sitzchok. We're holding Basra of Kuf Memtes. Just one arrow regarding the previous daf. I said a mistake in the previous daf. I just want to correct it. And Kuf Memtes Aleph, the Gemara brought a suffix regarding someone who gives the tree to one and the fruits to other. The question is there a shear or not? So we mentioned the Machlekes of Rashbam and Tosfos. What is the sugya about? Rashbam learns to talk about a regular shchimera who's doing a shear. Shear means if the shchimera doesn't give all his properties, so once he gets up, he heals, he doesn't get it back. If he gave everything, once he gets back, he does get it. He's choyzabay. So shaila is this a shear by giving a tree to one and a fruit to the other? Did he keep for himself the place of the trees with the branches? Tosfos learns that the shaila of the Gemara is referring to what we said earlier: when you give someone only a usage but not the actual item, is that good to be a good gift or not? And the Gemara wants to know if you give the fruits to one, you give him the branches, you give him the use. That's how we mentioned correctly. The shaila was, what was the second stage of the Gemara? So in the previous daf we mentioned that it's a three-stage process. That's a mistake. Nobody says three-stage process. In Machlekes, Rashi, and Rashbam and Tosfos, what is the two stages of the Gemara? According to the Rashbam, according to the Gears of the Rashbam, the Gemara says, okay, if you give it the tree to one, branches to another, is that considered, and fruits to another, do you give the other the branches? If you want to tell me no, what happens if he says the words chutz v'peroisov, which is unnecessary? These extra words, do they give the branch to the others or not? That was the more brought a raya regarding bor vidus. According to Tosfos, the Gemara is asking, what about if he keeps it for himself? Giving the tree to one and the fruits to the other, maybe he didn't give the branches to the other, but he gave the fruits to himself, maybe he kept the branches for himself. That's the two. In other words, two ways to understand. It's not a three-stage process. It's a two-stage process. How to understand it. Okay, now we're going to go on, and when we're learning that Kufim Tes, we're starting Kufim Chesed with base in the bottom. The following Lashonis, Yitol, you will take V'yiske, Oshon Zakai, V'yachzik, you will hold on to it, V'yikre, Kulum Lashon Maton. That's all good Lashonis from Maton. V'masti Satano, even you use Lashon Aramaic, which is Yachsin, V'yiras. It's Lashon Yerusha, B'roy Liyosha. Someone is Roy Liyosha, I'm using that. In other words, how can you change the Yerusha of the Torah? According to anybody who's Roy Liyosha, I could change the Yerusha, give it to him in a different way. Ibailu says the Gemara, brings a question of Kuvin Tesam Dalmatap. If he enjoys them, then he have a cool metonicar, does it mean to give it as a gift? Or not give it as a gift, but you should have some know from it. Right? In other words, he's not giving the entire thing as a gift. He will be seen in them. Or he will stand in them. He will lean in them. All this, is this a Lashon Matana giving this as a gift or not? The Gemara says is taker. What happens if he sells everything? He doesn't gift it, he sells it. So do you say that there, if he be healed, does he change? Could he be chayzer or not? He can chayzer. Says more of his zimnim. We find a stira. Can he go back or not? It depends what he did with the money. That the way the Rashbam explains that if the money is still intact, is still over there, so then that means he's not going to be chayzer. Why? Because the Maisa, he has the money. But if he's giving it as he took all the money and used it for the loan, so he's not really enjoying the money, really it's not keeping by him. So then if he's doing it, ain't no chayzer. Says the Gemara, right? If he's parinu b'chayvai, im amad ein chayzer, right? If he paid, if he used it, says amad ein chayzer because he's using it. If he kept it by himself, im amad chayzer, that means he wanted to exchange his nechasi for money, but he's not doing anything with the money, so he take it back. Says the Gemara, shchimra shehoido ma. What happens if shchimra did hoido? Does it work or does it not work? Right? Now, the idea of hoido is the oidah that we talk about, what's going to be seen in a moment, because it's called oidiso. Oidiso means one admits that these nechosim belong to somebody else. Does that work or does not work? Why should it work? So we should explain because it does balding. Like a person confesses, that's good enough to give it to him. Or that it's a pshat is that it's not how he does balding, but it's a din derabbanan. The person was annoyed that that's how it works. Okay, so there's a big discussion that we should understand. But let's just continue on. Does Hoidah work? Talk about the Isu Giyuro story. The Gemara brings a story. Isu Giyuro was a ger. He was a ger. He had by Rava 12,000 zuz. Rav Mari, his son. Rav Mari was his son. Who's Rav Mari? The Rashbam learned that Rav Mari is the daughter of Shmuel. Shmuel had daughters that were captured in Masechtas Ksuvos. They were captured. And according to Rashbam, the Shabbai, the one who captured him, was this Isur Giyur. And he had a relation with one of these daughters. And there was a baby that was born. And Isur Giyur eventually became a ger and married this daughter. That's what Rashbam learns. So this is Rav Mari that was born from a father, Shein Shalom Gedusha. In other words, he became a ger later. That's why he's not halachically, he's not considered to be his father because he became a ger. Gershis guy, Kodesh Nehodami. So he disagrees. This holds a reminder over here is not the Darsh where he holds Shmuel. Shmuel's daughter was never had a relationship as the Shmuel's like more in Bava and Ksuvos. This is a different person. It's not the daughter of Shmuel. So anyway, he says, so he had a son. The son, Mitzvah Halacha, not supposed to be Yerush. This son was in Beirav in Bismedish, in the Yeshiva. We'll see in a moment why it's important to mention that. How will Rav Mari give this money to his son? Yerush doesn't work because he's a get. If it's a matana of shchimira without a kinyan, it's like a Yerush. If Yerush doesn't work, it does not work in matana. Someone is able to bequeath, to do Yerush, he can do matana as well. If you can't do Yerush, you can't do matana either. Even Meshicho, you'll do a kinyan. They say gabay. The son is not there. So he uses beirat. Ibe chalifin, and matbea nika bechalifin. You can't do the matbea, you can't give a coin with chalifin. Agav karka, just explain the Meshicho, Leidnu Gabe means the money is not there. Not that the son is not there. I said before that the money is not by the Shchimira. So he can't give a Mashiach, he can't give it to his son to pull it. The money is right now by Rava. Khalifin doesn't work Khalifin. Agav karka, leis le'ar. Maybe we'll do Agav, give him karka, give him money with it. Iskayir has no karka. And this goes back to a little bit early in the Masech that we learned, do we assume that every Jew has a karka? Efshar, every Jew has a karka, but a ger doesn't. Even Ma'amad Shloshtom, what's a Ma'amad Shloshtom? You have to have three of them in the same place. The giver, the receiver, and the third party. He shows up to the says, well, I'm not going to come to this place, so you can't do Ma'amad Shloshtom. So Rava is basically assuming this money that's by me, Isu cannot give it to his son, and therefore I'm going to keep the money. Says the Gemara, Matkav Rabiko, Breda Ravami. So Rabiko Breda Ravami said, Emai, Veloide, Isu down, Zuzda, Marninu, Shadu Oida. We just mentioned. Velo can you buy this? Or this should work. Says Mora the Hachi Nafi Godisi Beisu. Oh, and Hanami. This came out from Beisu because of this what Rav Ika said. And it says the more Ikpi drove, Rava was not happy about it. They're causing a taina to they're teaching a taina to people. I mean, Rav Ika's teaching him, you're causing me to lose the money. I shouldn't lose the money. So here, and we're marking this a little bit more in the Shur Machshah on the Daf. Of course, a tema. Rava wants to take money from Mari. What's shot in this? So there's a Chazon Ish in the end of Choshen Mishpah. The Chazon Ish brings this going and explains that Rava was a guy by tzedakah, and he wanted to use this money for tzedakah, and he also knew the Yisur Giyuro would be happy for him to use the money for tzedakah. So that's what Rava is trying to say. Right now, Yisur Giyuro cannot take the money from me. I'll give it to tzedakah. Now Ravika gave Rav Yisrael a way to do it, so this money will be lost with Zuck, and that's what Rava cared about. Rava didn't really care that he lost money, because he says that the Rabbanim know very, very clearly that whatever a person is supposed to get, because sends it. He lost his money, he's supposed to get this money, he'll give it somewhere else. So that's the Chazon Ish speaks about over here, and interesting Nikuda. Just to mention, before we go on, that the very, very long traces over here, which comes and explains, why don't you have a concept of mitzvah l'kayin divrei hames? You want to say Mata Shechima doesn't work over here. Why? Because you can't do a Yerusha. But there's another concept called mitzvah l'kayin divrei hames. You're supposed to be mekayim what the mace will is. Last will and testimony. You have to accept it. So why don't you say mitzvah l'kayin divrei hames over here? So Torah goes on and says a few explanations. Why when you say he brings the re that only if you have a certain lashon that it works, or only if he's a shalish, means a shliach, right? But not something else. And also the Rabbi Dab says only so you can give when you're alive. Different reasons why mitzvah l'kayin divrei hames doesn't apply. Very important choices regarding the Yisoidistic thing of when do you say you have to listen to the Divrei Hames. Says the Gemara now. The Gemara basically in the Kufim Decimal Beis dives into the sugya that we are discussing, that we're speaking about, which is Shchimera. Shir Kala Kol Shu Matos HaKemes. Now Shchimera goes, gives out his karkos, and he keeps one for himself. So that means he's really intending to do it, even if he becomes healthy. Why? The fact that he left one aside, that shows his intention is, worst case, I get back, I come back, this will be mine, I'll keep it. But if he gives everything out, that means he really thought he's going to die. Once he healed, he didn't really intend to give them up. So then we have a koshu. How much is koshu? What is a koshu? It has to be a karka, land. It has to be something that you can give him parnasa of mezainis. So then we have a Bava, it doesn't have to be karka, it can be metal too. That gives him parnasa, gives him mezainis for his life. Says the Gemara, how mechuven is with these shuas? Why? Karka taimai that the ikai so mechalek. Why is karka? If he left a karka, it means he didn't really intend to give a gift, because he has what to rely on. Metalti nami ikai so mechalek. So metalti, he has what to rely on. That's good enough. Says the Gemara, matke v'avesif umay chavanta. Why is mechuven? Says the way they said they're so mechuven, it's such a great pshat. First of all, it says in the Mishnah, karka. Shir karka kosher. Right? It says kedei fanos has to be enough to support him, to give him zaynis. It says kosher. Actually, even the smallest amount of karka. Rabbanan said, the Mata Shechima einu chayzav. Says the Gemara, so 2 times. Let's focus 2 times of Yeshiva brings. You said karka and you said kosher. You said metalton and you said kosher. Sorry, you said metalton and kedei fanos also. Says Yeshiva, one second. The Mishnah says karka kosher. Now she has to be dafka karka, and doesn't have to be kedei fanos also. Says the Gemara, whenever it says karka, it means only a karka. It says in the Mishnah, what? Someone gives all his properties to a slave, why? Because he's giving the slave everything, all his assets, including the debt. If you left one karka out, why? So the Rishbam learns that the Eved Hukash L'Karkos, and therefore a karka could be him, right? He left the karka out. Now the other Torah speaks about here so Torah also discusses it's because karka koshu, or because he left something out in the get. The Torah brings the maskon in the morning getting lav krus gita. There's something here that the owner is still involved in the nechasim. So he's not completely separated. That's why the evidence is not released. Okay, says the Gemara. He is a ben chayim. I mean, if he's leaving one karka out, it's not a problem. According to what the Rashbam said, because karka doesn't mean a eved, even though eved hukish the karka, but that's not the push of shav lashon. Or krus gita, it's also like it's a krus gita. He's giving out one karka for himself that doesn't have a problem in the get. But if he said, I'm giving you everything except 1 out of 10,000 amen chasim, So then that means it could be the one with 10,000 is the Eved, and even if the Eved, the Gemara says in Gittin, even though it's worth much more, but maybe for him, for the owner, it's not considered to be so much. He says, I'm leaving something out. I don't know what that's something else. That's the Eved. So what that's Kufnun and Mudal. Omav Dimi Bar Yosef Omav Lazar. Assume Taltim Shir it's Eved. Assume Taltim Shir it's a Ksuv. Right? Meaning, even though it says Shir Kal Kosh, Lo Shel Roshbam at the top. Omav Dimi Bar Lazar. After the Ketani Shir Kal Kosh, Lo Yotze B'Choyim. Who are dealing Shir Metaltim Kosh? They have the Nami Ki Metaltim Dami. Shein Mechum Lekaka. Kol B'Ni Adam Metaltim. So it could the court of Tanakama that says if you left out a karka, it could be mean the Eved. So also when you left a metalton, it could be mean the Eved. That's the Rosh Baham. According to Toy says that's also not kruskito. So even though it says the word karka, shir karka goshu, it doesn't mean dafka karka. It means metalton too. Dafka by ksuva we hold if you learn metalton shir ksuva. What is it talking about? That a person who gave a karka to his isha, so she relies on it for ksuva. The tafka karka non metalton, but ksuva you need to have something more reliable to go on. So what do you see over here? Arai or Rebbe said if it says karka, it means karka, not metalton. There it says karka, and you say it means metalton too by Eved. So also medinu deloy litni karka. Really, you don't have to say karka at all. Meaning the word, the mishnah that says shir karka kosher. You're right. It doesn't mean necessarily karka. It means metalton too. So why it says karka? Why this is a mishnah Maseches Peah. There it says Maseches Peah before it's the following. The smallest amount of karka, you have to give pay on the corner of the field for the anim, or bikurim, to bring the first fruit to Beis Hamikdash. The chtavela and pruzbul, try to pruzbul, you have to have a karka, the lender has to have, the bar has to have a karka. To do a kinyan agav, you're coining the metaltim, agav the karka, when you buy the karka with kesef, shtar and chazokah, these things don't work on metaltim, but they work for karka, you could do the metaltim agav the karka. So we mentioned karka before, that the smallest amount of karka is good enough for these things. You're right. Usually when the Mishnah says karka, it means karka, not metaltim. But here, the only reason you use loshen with karka, because the previous Mishnah used loshen karka, that's why I use loshen karka over here. Let's continue on just to finish this sugya. Another question Yosef asked. The Mishnah says kosher means the smallest amount. You said kadei parnasa. So what tell me kosher means the smallest amount? So what tell me kosher leis b'shur? Down it says the Mishnah of doiso b'rankinos uimer. Chamesh rechelus gezuzis mone umone pas chayovas b'rishis hages. The mitzvah rishis hages is you have to give a little bit of a wool to the kohen. How much you have to give? What are your chayav? So Rav Doisa said you have to have 5 rechels, 5 female sheep. That each one of them you cut out the amount of monu plus. Then you chayav less that. Chayav chamesh rechels zuzis kol shein. Chayav say no, even something small. Doesn't have to be monu pras for each sheep. For a meaning common kol shein, what's kol shein? Omarav monu pras for all 5. So Rav Doisa said that this is what Akita said. You have to have monu pras for each one of the animals' amount of wool in order to be chayav to give to the kohen. Chayim say no, it should be monu pras for all 5 together. As long as they are, each one of the 5 has a fifth of that monu pras. Has to be so it has to be, there's a certain shear that each animal has to have, that together there will be monu pras, each one will be fifth of that. So what do you see? Even though it says there kol shu, it doesn't mean kol shu, it means a little bit more. It says more also medinu to loy din kol shu. Really, there you shouldn't say kol shu, because kol shu means the smallest amount. And there it doesn't mean smallest amount, it means some shear. The comment that Tanakama shiur rabo, because the Tanakama said, oh, it's a very large, it's monu pras for each animal. And he karla kol shu. So now when he comes and he's arguing, and he says, you said monu pras for each one. No, it's much less kol shu. It's something small. I mean, what is something small? Monu pras for all of them together. But it's just to contrast the chacham against Rabbi Doisa. So what does the Gemara say? Usually, Rabbi Doisa said, our Mishnah says karka. Karka means dafka karka, not metalton. Our Mishnah said kol shu means the smallest amount. So the Gemara, we find Mishnahs with karka doesn't mean dafka karka. We find Mishnahs with kol shu doesn't mean dafka kol shu. So no, that depends on the context. If we said karka before, so we use loshen karka, doesn't mean dafka karka. If the Tanakama said the contrast is a very large amount, and the chacham want to come and point out and say no, it's a much smaller amount, they use loshen kol shu. And that doesn't mean dafka karka or dafka kol shu. But a regular Mishnah, like our Mishnah, that says karka kol shu, it means what it says, Davka Kaka, not Mitaltim, Davka Kolshu, and not Kedei Parnasasoi. So the question of Yosef is a good question. We'll stop over here, continue from here, basically, we'll do that in the next daf.